You've been there, right? It's late, you've got a big day tomorrow, and you're faced with a choice. Hit the hay for that 5 a.m. workout you promised yourself, or just one more episode. Today, we're going to get into why our brains are so wired for now instead of later, and what we're calling the Netflix Now paradox.
I mean, you know you should sleep. You made a whole plan, but that remote is just sitting there, and the next episode is literally calling your name. It's a choice so many of us face all the time. That cozy, immediate comfort of right now versus a goal we set for our future.
And this is really the heart of the paradox. You're trying to hold two completely conflicting ideas in your head at the same time. Your goal to be healthy and rested, and your action, which is to keep watching the show. This internal tug-of-war, it's not a sign you have weak willpower. Nope, it's actually a classic psychological phenomenon, and it's the key to understanding why that couch wins out over the gym so often.
All right, so let's really dive into why our brains seem to sabotage our very best intentions. It all boils down to two really powerful psychological drivers that are pretty much always at work.
First up, we've got something called cognitive dissonance. This is the official name for that kind of icky, stressful feeling you get when your actions just don't match up with your values. Your brain absolutely hates this feeling, and it will do just about anything to make it go away, usually by rationalizing the easier choice. Telling yourself something like, it's fine, I'll just work out extra hard tomorrow.
And on top of that, there's another cognitive bias at play called temporal discounting. See, our brain is fundamentally wired to overvalue a small immediate reward, like the simple pleasure of watching that next episode, over a much larger future one, like, say, the long-term benefits of being healthy. That future reward, it just doesn't feel as real, so it doesn't seem as valuable.
But here's the really important thing to remember. This isn't some kind of personal flaw. Your brain isn't broken. It's just, well, it's running on some seriously outdated software. This is actually a survival mechanism from prehistoric times when prioritizing the present was a matter of life and death, because the future was anything but certain. So yeah, we're basically hardwired for instant gratification.
So okay, our brains are running on old software, but that doesn't fully explain why the future feels so abstract and unimportant. Why do we treat our future well-being almost like it's someone else's problem?
Well, psychologist Hal Hershfield's research gives us a pretty powerful explanation. He argues that we actually see our future self as a complete stranger. Think about it. That person who's supposed to wake up at 5 a.m. tomorrow, we don't really know them, and we definitely don't feel a strong emotional connection to them right now.
And get this, it's not just a metaphor. Scientific studies using brain scans have actually shown that when we think about our future self, the parts of our brain that light up are the exact same parts that activate when we think about a completely different person. It's no wonder we're so willing to sacrifice their sleep for our entertainment. Psychologists even have a name for this. It's called future self-continuity. It's basically a measure of how connected and similar you feel to the person you're going to be down the road. And the lower that feeling of continuity is, the easier it becomes to make choices that benefit you right now at that stranger's expense. Now, the good news in all of this is that this isn't some fixed personality trait you're stuck with. Not at all. We can actually work on this. We can actively strengthen that connection. We can learn to befriend our future self and, bridge that empathy gap. So how do we actually build that bridge? Well, it all starts by making the future feel personal. We have to move past these vague, abstract goals and start connecting our daily actions to values that are deeply, personally meaningful to us. The why behind that 5 a.m. workout has to be way more powerful than the why not of just one more episode.
Okay, so what can we actually do about this? Let's look at 3 simple, science-backed strategies you can start using right away to build that bridge to your future self. And the results you can get from these kinds of techniques are just fascinating. There was this one UCLA study where they had people write a letter to their future self. The group that wrote to their distant future self, we're talking 10 or 20 years from now, they ended up exercising for nearly 40% longer each day. Why? Because that simple act of writing a letter forced an empathetic connection. It made that stranger feel more real, and all of a sudden, their well-being felt like something worth working for today.
But, beyond these kind of specific tricks, what's the long-term mindset we really need to develop for lasting success? How do we make this kind of change permanent?
I think the world champion boxer Alexander Usyk just puts it perfectly. He doesn't rely on motivation to get up and train. Motivation is just an emotion, right? It's a feeling that comes and goes. Discipline, on the other hand, that's a system. That's something you can rely on, day in and day out.
At the end of the day, discipline is all about building a life where the good choices are the easy choices. It's about creating habits and systems that let you keep going, almost on autopilot, no matter how you feel in the moment. It's how you support your future self out of a real sense of duty and commitment, not just because you got a fleeting burst of inspiration.
So that really leaves us with one final thought. Instead of just waiting for motivation to strike, what is one small, disciplined choice you can make right now to befriend that stranger you're going to become tomorrow? What's one thing you can do today that your future self will really, truly thank you for?